Here it is at last. 1973 Philco-Ford color television. The TV that coprophiliacs worldwide have been dying to see me resurrect. And actually it's 1974 according to this. So I guess this chassis belonged in a lot of different sets. Anyway, it's time to dig into this toilet. Now this came from a private mine site, and some of you that have been watching my videos for a while have seen the late 80s gentleman who owned the mine site. Well, unfortunately, he's had health issues. I don't even know if he's still with us. I know he had to leave the mine site because he needed constant medical care. I think at the end of this video I'll include a little tutorial of the generator he had with the single cylinder diesel motor that ran his mine site. Anyway, he had in the 70s the mine site was very active, and the bunkhouses and that had a bunch of TVs, and he told me, he said, please take as many of the TVs as you can. They're e-waste. I'll have to get rid of them before I sell this place. So anyway, he welcomed me to take these. I didn't just heist this from some abandoned site. I don't do that. It was buried in a root cellar in one of the old houses, and the roof had collapsed and the rain was washing dirt down into the root cellar. Now along with that, this thing is full of rodent and mouse feces and urine, and that creates a bit of a problem because we have cats around here and this drives the cats nuts. I will never be able to take this in the house no matter how well I clean it. And in this household, if I was to take the circuit boards and put them in the dishwasher, I wouldn't be a part of this household anymore. So that would not go over well. So the strategy is with this today, let's try and resurrect it. Let's try and get it to work. I'm not real motivated on it. I don't like it that much, and I'll go over why it's the way it's built. Alright, so the first thing I'll say is dirty, nasty, filthy, full of shit, piss, excrement, barf, sand, greasy, oily. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm not a clean freak like that. I don't have some phobia where I can't touch it because it looks like that right there. So that's not an issue for me with this set. What is an issue is that the boards are all plug-in. So there's one, if you could see it down here, there's one big motherboard. Let's see if we can see here. Okay, yeah, you can see there's one big motherboard here, and all these lines are, of course, the headers, which these the sockets which these things plug into. And you can see, I mean, this is the service switch right here. You know, I'm not even going to move that. But all of the places these boards are plugged in, it's very highly likely that there's corrosion and poor contact there. And I'm not even going to try and move these, because if I pull them out, then the dirt's going to get in there and it's really going to be a problem. So here's our tripler. The flyback is in that rusty cage looking thing right there. Power transformer. It's all your IF color demodulation, sound processing. There's the delay line right there. This must be the IF, the front end. There's the lead from the tuner. Speaker looks like it's in one piece here. And I'm not gonna kill myself over this. If it's just one problem after another, I'm just gonna put it in the trash. Because like I say, this triggers the odor of this thing triggers something in the cat's brains to where they stop using the potty box. They literally will stop using the litter box and just go completely nuts. The other thing about this I don't care for, and you got to remember 1974, so this is one of the very first all solid state televisions. Philco was still offering tube stuff in these years. Like if we go and we look at the sets, these sets in the same Sam's folder, they were hybrid. You can see here we got a the vertical is tube and it comes back to solid state. We actually got an IC here. Video output's a tube. And this here, the same Sam's folder, this is a Sanyo, and you can see this set was all tube too. So this was cutting edge for a TV, color TV, when it came out. So here's the other thing two other things I don't like about this television, why it's keeping my motivation low, is that the schematics, Sam's does not show any voltages in the modules. They show the modules here, but you'll see there are no voltages listed here anywhere. And not that I necessarily need voltages, but if there is a problem, it would be nice. The other thing I don't like about this thing is it's all integrated circuits pretty much. Which, I mean, real cutting edge. Look at this. IC, 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 IC. I mean, it's very modern for its time, 74. Very few discrete transistors overall compared to something like a Sylvania or a Zenith, where, well, Zenith used a lot of ICs too, but GE Sylvania, those would have just had tons of transistors in them. It's a lot easier to substitute a transistor than it is an IC. And like I say, we have no voltages here. And it actually talks about that somewhere in the Sam's. Somewhere in here it talked about, I remember reading that it was the voltages weren't available or they were too much work or something. The other thing I don't like about this thing is, have I done enough complaining about it yet? Is it uses SCR horizontal deflection. Right here. So it's using kind of a weird SCR horizontal deflection. RCA did this, and I remember trying to fix these things, and they could be very, very, very difficult to fix, this SCR horizontal deflection. They use two SCRs. That's probably them right there on this heat sink. Anyway, enough complaining and rambling about it. It had a power supply issue. It was completely dead. Let's get into it. We're either going to see a picture or we're going to see smoke, and I'll be happy with either one. One other kind of rant point I want to bring up and make clear is I often get messages and people post comments about, I have this TV I'm working on, it does blah 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 blah, what's wrong with it? And a lot of the time, I'm not being rude, but I don't reply to those, and this is why. Look at this. Look at the complexity of this, okay? And this goes for every TV. TVs are complicated. They have a lot of inner working systems. I can't tell you through the 5 paragraphs you spent an hour writing what's wrong with your TV based on those 5 paragraphs. I do these videos because I try and teach some basic steps and diagnostic thinking, okay? You start here, you go from here to here, but anybody who thinks that they can question somebody in a remote, far location about something that's complicated and have them give them the answer, or anybody that thinks they can give somebody the answer, is completely insane. That's one reason why I gave up video karma and audio karma and all that. Yeah, you can get some valid information off there, but for the most part, you got to figure this out yourself. Spend the money, get the SAMs, get some test equipment. TV test equipment's cheap. TV shops are, the few that are left are dying, and they'll be all gone soon, so get your test equipment now. But yeah, you got to do it yourself. Sorry to say that, but anyway, let's go. Okay, so I use this a lot. It's a watt volt meter. You put it in series with the thing, and you can see we're drawing 0 watts there. This thing is totally dead. The first thing I notice here is the power switch. I'm not sure what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't. The detent is gone or something. Oh, we got a circuit breaker here. Already getting dirt on the schematic. So let's see. We come in here. Their 2.5 amp fuse. There's our power switch. Then we go into the power transformer. We come out of the power transformer. My question is, this says a circuit breaker. Where is the circuit breaker? Okay, here's the circuit breaker right there. So because this thing is so dead, even if the circuit breaker was bad or open, we would still be drawing a little bit of current because the transformer is not 100% efficient. So we want to look at this fuse and this power switch. So just work right down the line here. So we come in, we go into the filter choke, then we come out of the filter choke. We have 122 volts. Wow, check this out. This has some kind of funky instant on circuit. So when the switch is open, the power is feeding through this transformer and keeping the filaments powered up on the tube. So even if the switch was bad, we would still have an electrical path here, down through here, up through here, and back. So why does this have a thermistor across the coil here? This is when these things really started to get fancy and complicated. So this fuse, because where is that fuse? So the fuse is right here in this little plastic container. Yeah, I believe I can see from here that the fuse is cremated. Popped. If I could get this to focus, that's some type of very odd fuse. This is like playing in a sandbox. Anyway, there's a couple different ways I could go about this. I could put another fuse in it and I could bring it up on a variac, or I could put a light bulb in it, bring it up on a variac, but I'm just choosing to put a light bulb in it. This is only a 150 watt bulb. I'm just gonna power it up, see what happens. Let's just do it here. Here we go. Ooh, 6 watts now. And dropping as the filaments heat up with the instant on CRT roasting goodness. Now let's try the switch here. Ooh. I'm looking for smoke. Light bulb's getting dimmer. I don't hear anything. I don't hear vertical. I don't hear horizontal. Light bulb's still getting dimmer. I don't hear high voltage. Smell something getting hot. I think I'll just let it run for a second and see if maybe the filter is shorted and is reforming. Still seems like it's getting brighter. Yeah, the wattage is dropping. And there's hum. Actually, hold on, I hear high voltage. Listen, real. See, watch the Snowy Geese Stoimlers there. Watch this. I powered up. See, we got them over here too. Powered up right now. Spiderweb's a new high voltage indicator for your color television set. Totally freaking crustastic. Just baked. This should like totally set some crusty. Nothing. I don't really see the heater on in this. I know I tested the CRT in the first video and it's very, very dim if it's there at all. But I don't hear vertical deflection. You know, you hear that. I don't hear that. Nothing. Okay, I'm gonna try. Remember, this came out of a mine site with a generator, so we don't know if that fuse got popped because of the unstable voltage from that generator. So let me try this. See, we're at 80 watts right now. That seems a little on the high side, but acceptable. I'm gonna just try bypassing the light bulb. And it went up to 114 watts and it seemed like it got a lot louder. Do we have any idea how much this is supposed to use? What the consumption is on this? Does it say here? 1.6 amps. I'm gonna bypass it. Hell with it. If it smokes, good. So there, the light bulb is bypassed. Oh, I see something. I actually see snow on this thing. Holy crap. Look at how bad the focus is. It's working. Is this channel 6?
Para una super Navidad necesitamos tus hijos en carnes y corazones, que la alegría de Cristo venga en cada uno de los corazones.
No way.
Cada año Dios nos regala una misión.
I put an antenna on it. I put a piece of wire on it here.
Hermanos mexicanos damnificados por el terremoto.
Gracias a todos ustedes.
You gotta be kidding me.
$7,000 para.
Oh, and the smell is incredible right now. Wow. Wish I could make candles like that smell like this.
Dios multiplique tu generosidad en bendiciones.
Gracias, Señor, por todas las bendiciones que en Guadalupe Radio hemos recibido. Gracias por permitir la construcción de los nuevos estudios. Gracias por nuestra programación. Gracias por nuestros talentos. Y ante todo, Señor,
I'm turning these controls.
Nuestros oyentes.
Cuando ayudamos de corazón.
It actually looks like the color demodulation's working. By the way, if you're wondering what the hell's going on here, we still have channel 6 is Guadalupe TV radio, low power television, and it's also broadcasting FM stereo at the bottom of the FM band. So let's take a look here. Okay, so this here looks like vertical horizontal hold. Is that what that? Yeah, vertical and horizontal hold. So we want to tweakify these. Holy crap, there it is. And the color demodulation's even working. Look at that. And the focus, look at that. That's the tint. I don't know what these controls are. I'm turning.
Mi vida seas tú primero. Hoy me entrego a ti con
The
toda
focus
mi
is
alma,
way off
con
too. I bet this is the focus right here. That's it, that pulled it right in.
Más cerca de ti.
Sintoniza nuestros testimonios de conversión en El Saqueo del Día.
Oh wow, the smell is just permeating as this thing heats up and just bakes all of this rodent feces. And wow, look at the yolk. Check out the yolk. Just completely caked. No wonder why I don't hear the vertical deflection. It's just, the whole thing is just buried in a big insulator of sand. Barely warm. Not warm at all. It actually kind of smells like burning ammonia in a way. I don't know. I can't believe this thing works. I'm just totally stunned. I really am. Alright, here's what I'm going to do with this. Since this works, I got some other projects I have to deal with right now. The problem right now is that that's because I'm outside, the camera is blanking. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back to this tonight. Maybe I'll try and clean this off a little bit. It's actually rough, like it's been sandblasted almost. I don't know if it's going to be able to be cleaned up, but I'll come back to this tonight. We'll get the DirecTV box on it and we'll watch some TV. We just got to take one more look at this because this is just such an awesome option on a TV. I'm going to pull the power right here. Watch how all of these thingies move when the high voltage collapses. Okay, here we go. Isn't that cool?
Can slow down access to content from companies like Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube if those companies do not pay for faster service. Internet providers could also route you to content they own. For consumers, that could mean higher prices or no access to the shows and websites you want. Also, the internet service providers could charge you more based on how much you use overall. Is that about to happen?
That fear is unfounded. Prior to 2015, before these regulations were imposed, we had a free and open internet. Consumers benefit, entrepreneurs benefit, everybody in the internet economy is better off with a market-based approach.
All 4 major internet providers responded today, saying their internet practices will stay the same.
Hey guys, it's Danny, and today I am showing...
But small online entrepreneurs like Danny Spees, a YouTube cooking star, is still worried about the future of her business.
That's the gift of YouTube and the platform we're on, is that you can create this information and it's accessible to anybody who is wanting it.
She's now concerned her videos could end up in the slow lane, and fewer people will be able to watch them.
If we don't have an audience, we don't have a business. It's that simple.
Now, Lester, all of this could go into effect as soon as the next couple of weeks. Today, Netflix saying it's disappointed in the decision, and Google saying it will remain committed to net neutrality. Critics of the repeal plan to keep on protesting this decision with lawsuits and possible legislation to overturn today's legislation and today's decision, Lester. We're all just getting started on this story.
We're going to have to wait and see how it actually plays out.
Absolutely.
All right, Jolene, thank you. Now to those new questions.
Very good. Dad, like, look, she don't say mama for nothing. Dad.
Stadium. Always talking super prepared he is for every single moment. What was he like in the build-up to that Super Bowl?
Same way.
Crappy greens.
We're about a week before the game. He's looking at the weather reports.
I guess it's okay, but I like my greens bright.
Raining on Super Bowl Sunday. We practiced with wet balls all week, and sure enough, it poured. That's him.
Hey, Manning.
Of course. And that Colts victory was Adam Vinatieri's 4th Super Bowl win. He won his first 3 with the Patriots, where he was teammates with Rodney.
I love Rodney. One funny story.
I don't know. I don't like the picture that much.
We had a lot more free time than he did.
It doesn't. It's bright. The convergence is twacked. It's bright. It's rock solid, but it doesn't have. Man, digital's a pain in the ass. Digital works great if you have a good directional antenna on the roof, but man, rabbit ears, it's just horrific.
Judy. Yasnaya Lorick says Elia Gomez owes for the return of the money she paid for a Rottweiler puppy.
Now, why did you select your puppy?
The reason why, Your Honor, my husband's dog, our family dog, died a year before. And I specifically explained to her when I reached out to her that this was going to be a present for my husband. And he picked out the dog because it stuck his tongue out just like our Maxie did. And he was particular. Every time, every picture she sent us.
Your Maxie stuck its tongue out?
The one we purchased, he had his tongue out just like our Maxie boy did.
If I didn't properly care for the dog, or if I was like neglective to the puppies, then the...
Neglective. Don't be neglective. Don't ever be neglective.
Selected because that dog died.
Boy, this thing only gets like... Maybe I need to rescan this thing. I don't know.
Is for his native Estonia. He then moved to the States to train at SMU, where he ended up trying out for their football team.
I got a call from the coach saying that I've been handed a scholarship, so I
have to be careful with that NFL stuff. That's got hardcore. See, how do you rescan this damn thing? Mute menu. Settings. Okay, 5. Search for valid channels. Number 1. Begin. Boy, it sure is being neglective at finding new channels. Look at how bad the convergence is right here. Look at how the C is like 10 millimeters off. I get about 130 channels on a good antenna. On the antenna on the roof. This is supposed to be going away anyway. They're coming out with a new digital format, I think by 2020. It's supposed to be a little bit better. So all these current DTV converter boxes we have will all be going in the landfill for something new. Maybe they won't even have converter boxes. The days of composite and channel 3-4 are just about over. Gonna have to... Interesting. So now we picked up channel 2. Let's see if it...
or near the application site. The most common side effect is application site pain.
Oh, that's
Ask
cool.
your doctor about you, Krissa.
The TV is not doing that, but it's, you can see the. I think the green is getting a little better as it
Especially
runs.
when you're in accounts receivable. Only one detergent can give you a sniff like this. The irresistible scent of new game botanical. Bring the smell of nature wherever you.
Hi, I'm Annette and I'm an actress. Under eye bags and wrinkles are so frustrating. I came across Plexiderm and I
Watch news program ever. He liked to say, tell me a story. And with that, he linked the oral tradition of...
I forgot the shrimp.
Murder, She Wrote. Cozy TV. Angela Lansbury. Boy, that goes back to when this TV was probably in operation.
Women. There's one thing I don't get. Are you and Bulldog forced to leave the... He was the killer. Marge or Kathy?
The scene showed up.
Beautiful.
Now they see me. See me.
See if Cosentix can make a difference for you. Cosentix is proven to help people with moderate to severe
That
plaque
strobing
psoriasis
is not the
find clear
TV,
skin
that's
that can
something with the
last.
camera.
Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting Cosentix, you should be checked for tuberculosis.
We're there too.
What?
Friend of yours?
I don't have any friends.
With a health plan through Covered California, we offer free expert help choosing the best plan for you, and all of our plans include free preventive care.
Again, that
Financial help
strobing is
available,
some
so check
sync
for yourself
issue
to
with
see
the
what savings you qualify.
camera.
Love it. Should be not during this time, but all year because of God's demonstration of love. And love over you, not right.
Works for me.
160 homes have been damaged.
It's almost like an out-of-body experience.
This homeowner watched stunned as her house burned to the ground.
I don't even think the emotions have truly hit yet.
These homeowners barely escaped the flames, taking with them only what they could.
This is my favorite picture in the world of them, and I was like, I have to have that.
Human interest story. Human interest story. Dirty laundry.
Just some of the faces that we're hoping to help this holiday season as folks have to deal with what's left of the Thomas fire out here, which is still going strong. Again, this is a place you can do a drop-off donation, but there are other ways that you can help. And for that, we're going to check in with Amy Johnson. Amy?
Rick, thank you so much. I have to tell you, just watching that video you were just sharing, it's just heartbreaking to see so devastation. But I have to say...
Well, the longer it runs, the better it kind of gets, but it still doesn't have the good, solid, bright greens. You know, a lot of these mid-70s sets, I've noticed the greens are not bright. They're almost on a brownish tinge to them, and I don't like that. I like the greens. When they show something green, I like it to look green. Like you take a 1960s RCA set, the greens the colors will be right there next to a brand new flat screen. But some of this mid-70s stuff, the greens just are not, they're not there. They're just not, they're not vibrant. I mean, of course, if you're watching something old and low contrast like Murder, She Wrote, you know, back in the 4x3 NTSC days, of course it's... Where is Murder, She Wrote? Oh, Little House on the Prairie. Boy, here's some low this is even color.
I'll pick up Henry after school.
All right.
The fake wind noise.
Hey, McGinnis, open up. Well, look who's here. We got something for you.
This playing Santa Claus is getting an awful lot like work.
Well, I got a little Christmas cheer I keep for just such occasions.
I think Edwards remembers that from last year.
You fellas don't know how much I appreciate this.
It's liable to get me through my hard day's work. Hey, what do you got in that box, anyway?
Well, now, this is a genuine foot cut and sewing machine. I had to shoot Lottie away from the books. I couldn't have her find.
Such and such that he said was Brandon such and such. So what we did was, like I said, got together, started putting these names together. Stuff wasn't popping up. He gave us another name. Boom, that popped up. But it was an old Facebook profile. And all these old Facebook profiles that he had, it had young teen girls who was messaging him, you know, saying he looked nice, and he was saying they looked nice, and all this different stuff.
Yeah, there's contest.
There's a lot of red flags here. Why do you have two different names?
All right, well, that has
The
been...
ultimate detective is sophisticated.
You want to have a candy bar?
He gets to the point.
Remember the picnic, and it got so hot that we had to come.
That's been a look at the 1974 Philco-Ford mine rescue. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as a little tribute to the guy who gave me this set, I believe this was his set. I know he's not long for this world. I'm going to, a lot of you have seen it, but it's a, he gave me a tour of his generator. And if I can find that video, I'm going to tack it on to the end here. So, there it is.
Coprophilia, abnormal interest and pleasure in feces and defecation. Urolognia, a tendency to derive sexual pleasure from the sight or thought of urination. According to your dictionary, scatophilia, noun, state or quality of taking pleasure from contact with human excrement.
Yeah, that one doesn't really fit the bill, but vintage television repair.
Until now, you had to choose between good taste and low calories. Until now.
The time is right for Pepsi Light, lemony Pepsi Light. We put a little lemony taste in and took out half the calories.
Refreshing Pepsi Light, the cola with a lemony taste in and half the calories of regular colas out.
We put a little lemony taste in and took out half the calories.
This is private property, and that we keep the location private because him and his wife don't want to be bothered. Not that anyone would do that, but I always do get these questions, where is this place? So I can answer that by saying, don't worry about it. All right. Here's two more TVs. I just don't have room. This thing must have 20 pounds of dirt on it. You can't even see the holes anymore. What is this one down here? I have no more room in my car. Zero. Absolute zero. Philco-Ford solid state color.
Oh. One a day.
I have never seen a TV with so much friggin' dirt and rat crap on top of it that you can't see the grill on top anymore. People are going to say this video is a prop or it's staged.
It is.
It is?
Staged it all morning.
Wow.
This is kind of neat though. I'd like to have this because it's color and it's a Philco-Ford. Damn, that thing is nasty. Let me have it. I want to. Okay. So when I picked that one up, I ripped the top off of this one. And this one has a brightener on it anyway, so it's CRT is dead. Wow, look at the chassis. Is that incredible or what? Holy crap. Wow. Oh crap, here's another one. Hey Kevin, come move this. Right there under that board. Wow. Oh, crap. Huh?
That was great.
What is this? Oh, this is a Matsushita or Panasonic. Panasonic. I gotta get this. I don't care if I have to strap it to the roof. These are rare.
It was under one of the headboards. I didn't even see that one.
Where's the record player, Ed?
Over by the table. It's all busted up.
Yeah, look at that. This is just unacceptable. I'll get that to work.
This appears to be a cold room. It's concrete with an extremely thick insulated door.
And it has bats.
And there's a bat in here that's very unhappy. because he can't get out. We're blocking his I think he's over here. Yeah. And
hey guys, say hello. Oh.
Like that won't hurt you.
No, I know, but
That's in the fridge.
so this is buried underground, or it was at one time. I always keep my TVs in a root cellar. But here, close the door. This is cool. That's cool.
It's not gonna go
Wow, look at that.
It's a little too warped.
Talk about old school.
See how they cut the edge off the hanging off the hinges? Those are beauties. Oh, I love that. That little brass handle. Pretty neat.
This really sets the record for nasty, dirty. I want to show you guys the generator that runs this place. This place is completely off the grid. This is a 60-plus-year-old single-cylinder diesel generator. It runs at, I believe he said 500 RPMs. It uses a little over 5 gallons of diesel a day. And it's completely rebuildable. It's geared up to 1800 RPMs. That's the pulley ratio to run the generator.
Oil pressure gets down to about 5. Just drop. Run out of oil, that will shut the engine down. when it kicks back, you can tell it's got compression. In order to start it, you have to, this is the throttle, see? And it has to go on. So you have to lock that up. And then once it starts, you gotta remember to take that off so this will work. Okay. Now, this is the compression release. And release that. Then we get the crank. Okay. Now the crank goes on here. And this is set up at 11 inches for a reason. And the reason is you can use your knees and your arms and your shoulders. See, if everything's flat, it's a lot harder to start. Okay, it's heavy. Both these flywheels weigh 400 pounds, so you got 800 pounds of flywheel plus the rest of the mass to get moving. And you got to get it up fast enough or it won't start. If it fires, it's going to keep going.
So Don, tell me, what is it again? What year is it?
That was, I think, made in the 1950s, 52 or something.
Okay.
And it's probably 60 years old. And those engines can be rebuilt over and over. And about 2 or 3 years ago, we put a new cylinder in it. And the cylinder is pretty big. It's a 5-inch bore and an 8-inch stroke. And so you have to rig up a puller to pull the cylinder out, and then you press one back in. But that cylinder will last for 15 years. And eventually your cylinder gets out of round. And when it's get about 11 thousandths out of round, then you've got it pumps too much oil and you got to take it out and either get that cylinder sleeved back to standard or put a new one in.
Okay, how about starting it when it's cold? Does it have like a glow plug, or how do you heat it up? Or do you?
No. If it's cold, I squirt just a little bit of ether on the air cleaner, just a little squirt, and then I get it going, and that normally starts it. If it's real cold, then you've got to heat the engine up with heaters and blowtorches and heat the oil. The diesel froze on me one winter. It got so cold, the light plant shut down, and it took me half a day to start that thing. And I finally I had a salamander in there to warm the room up. I had a heater right against the block, had a blowtorch. It still wouldn't go, and I drained all the oil out and got it hot, poured it back in, and then I finally got it. But it's half a day. I could never crank that long today, but.
Who was it made by?
Witte, W-I-T-T-E. Some people say wit, but anyway, it's, let's see. I'm trying to think. It's the oil well division of one of the major companies. And they make them. They still make Witties today. They don't make this model, but they make more modern models. This model, there was thousands of them used in the oil patch. And when you see these grasshoppers going up and down, in the old days they were all powered by Witties. They didn't have a generator on them. They had a power takeoff on one side and a clutch. And anyway, they'd get them going and clutch it in, and the pump would start working, sucker rod pumps. And the oil patch, there's thousands of them down there. And that's where a lot of them, this old model, there's still some laying around and people buy them and rebuild them and whatnot.
Parts are still available, huh?
Yeah, there's a company in Oklahoma called Arrow, and they still make new gaskets for it and valves and valve springs and so on. You can get most of the parts. Bearings, they're on the crankshaft. You buy the bearings in Reno, but they're tapered roller bearings, and they're really heavy duty. They'll last forever, as long as you keep oil in them. And so you don't have to worry much about the bearings. I put new bearings in this one when we changed the cylinder out. But I took a crankshaft into Reno, and there's engine rebuilders in there, and they welded up that crankshaft, and then they turned it back down to standard. So the bearings that are in there just are standard, and they'll last a long time. I looked at them after a couple of years and couldn't see any wear on anything. They last. The valve job, every 2 or 3 years you have to take the head off and give it a valve job. And those head gaskets, they cost $90 a piece. I have made them myself, get the right material, and I've got 2 pieces of plywood. They're all cut out, and I clamp the stuff in there and take it out with a saber saw. I have made them because they're just too costly.
Here's the exhaust. Check out how slow this thing's running.
You can see when we don't use any water, it'll come up and there's a line goes out that way.
And then it runs across the road.
Yeah, and then I've got 2.5-inch pipe down here, welded a fitting in there, and then 2.5-inch out there, and there's a big valve in there. Actually, it's a 3-inch valve. I didn't want any pipe friction at all, and so then the 2.5-inch goes on outside for a ways, and then it's 2-inch to the house. It's 3,500 feet over to the house.
And how far downhill from here?
Yeah, the house is 110 feet lower than this. So, we've got 42 pounds pressure at the house.
That's good pressure.
Static pressure. That's normal town pressure is 40 pounds, 44. But now you guys can eat, this is what we drink just like it's there. So you can either dip water out of here or get it right outside there. You can take that hose off and get water.
Okay.
So this would be your water supply.
Okay, and we got a lot of water with us too.
I got a heavy duty lid there. But
Yeah, I see.
you have to keep something on there. Keep the critters out.
Yeah. So this is a spring or a well?
Well, both. When we don't use it, it runs over. It's artesian. And it'll make, depending on the winter weather, it'll make from 1 to 5 gallons a minute coming out.
So you don't have to pump it?
No. No, at the house is all we do is turn on a valve.
And what about in the winter as far as the pipes freezing?
Well, it's buried.
It's all buried so it doesn't freeze?
Yeah.
No problem with that?
This is covered up good. And then it did freeze, the first year because it was only like that deep. But I piled, that was that hump of dirt you drove over.
Okay.
So, but it hasn't froze since I put dirt over it. And then it's shallow for 1,000 feet, and then the rest is buried 3 to 4 feet deep.
And do you store any water at the house, or is it all just live flow?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all you got to do is turn on a valve.
That's amazing. That's great.
No power involved.
Having the water out here is more important than having the electricity out here.
Oh, and this is good water. It's sweet water, and it has plenty of trace elements in it that is actually healthy for you.
That's amazing. That's great. Makes it possible to be up here.
Yeah. This well is one of the most important things on the property.
Yeah, I'd agree. Absolutely. Here it goes
Wellspring.
Wellspring, yes.
Keep it running. I need to get this out. Okay.
These antennas were for a television translator, and he told me channel 8, but channel 8's about, I think it was 160 megahertz or 180. These look too small for that to me. These look like 700 megahertz or something like that. But I don't know, they might be multi-band, they might be log periodic. Anyway, they're defunct with the analog shut down, of course. And the owner told me I could take them if I wanted them. All 4 of them are tied together. That's all gain multiplication. So I don't know. I might grab one. I might not. Kind of interesting antennas. You see the 4 antennas feed into there, and then there's a piece of Belden RG11 75 ohm coming out of there. That's the big low loss 75 ohm coax. This is commercial stuff. Just wanted to say I got home and I got every TV that you've seen in this video except that RCA, 80s RCA console, the modern Silvertone 19-inch, and that rotten 50s thing with the brightener on it. This right here is in the front seat is that Philco-Ford color, and I think this thing is packed completely solid with dirt all the way to the top because it was very heavy. And the car, as you can see here, is just packed solid. I mean, it's packed so solid that I was to the point of opening the windows and sticking stuff in and rolling the windows back up. I even got crap strapped to the roof. Let's see if I can do this without packed solid. Anyway, we got a lot of resurrection videos to do, so I'm not going to be taking on anything new for a while. Model AN14 with extra dirt.